Today we are going to finish up this unit working with proportions and percentages. Today we're going to be looking at percent change. Up at the very top in your interactive notebook, you see the formula that we are going to be using. Those two formulas that show up there are the same formula, just using different words. Up here I have the one over on the right, which is just simpler. So we're going to be taking the amount of the change. You're going to have two amounts that are given. So we're going to find the difference between those two amounts, which is the change. In the denominator, you're going to be putting the original amount. And then we are going to multiply that by 100. Multiplying it by 100 is going to then change it to a percent. So by multiplying by 100, it then will move the decimal for you and give you that percentage amount. So if you open up the percent of increase flap, we have a couple of examples that we are going to take a look at. This first problem says a $30 watch was increased to $45. What is the percent of increase? So when we work these problems looking at that formula, we're going to have a fraction, and then we're multiplying it by 100. In the numerator of our fraction, the formula up at the top of our page says we need the change. Okay? If our watch price went from $30 to $45, what was the change in price? $15. You're going to take the difference, you're going to subtract those two to find the change. What goes in the denominator gets to be a little bit tricky. You need to read carefully because you need the original price in the denominator. So what was the original price of our watch? Kasha? Okay, $30. It was $30, then we increased it to $45. So it is 30. So we could go ahead and put this in our calculator, or to make things simpler, and if you weren't allowed to use a calculator, you would probably want to simplify first. What can I do to simplify 15 over 30? What can I do? Okay, I can divide by 15. 15 goes into itself one time and into 30 two times. So now I have 1/2 times 100. What's 1/2 of 100? 50. We are looking for a percent, and we see that word increase. And so we want to make sure you can just put the letter I for increase, but we want to make sure we identify if it's an increase or a decrease. Next one says a doctor's office call increased from $50 to $62. What is the percent of increase? So what is the change? What was my change in price for my numerator? $12. Again, you subtract those two amounts. What was the original price, Josh? And what was the original price? 50. wanted to, we could, again, simplify or reduce that. Okay. Or we can go ahead with our calculators. So I have 12, my fraction bar means I'm dividing. Divide by 50, and then multiply by 100. And I get an answer of 24% increase. So those were percent increase examples. Now we're going to take a look at percent of decrease examples. Our formula is still the same. This first example says Tim ran 25 miles last week. This week he ran 20 miles. What is the percent of decrease? Whoops. So what is the amount of change? Okay. The change is 5. What was the original amount? Ashton? 25. This one is an easy one to simplify. 5 goes into itself once and into 25 5 times. So I have 1/5 of 100, which is the same thing as 100 divided by 5. How many times does 5 go into 100? 20 times. So it's a 20% decrease. 20% decrease. And then the last one says the price of a calculator decreased from $20 to $18. What is the percent of decrease? So what is the change? Our change is $2. The original price was $20. Again, easy to simplify. 2 goes in. So 1/10 of 100, or 100 divided by 10, gives us 10%. And again, it is a decrease. So we've worked with decreases before, and when we were working with percentages off. So rather than them telling us the percentage off, they're giving us the original price, the sale price, and we're finding the amount of that discount. So again, being able to work with those percentages, proportions in different ways.